Oh, excellent. Okay. Hello, Lupersom community. I'm going to pull this down a little bit. There we go. Hello. Hi, everybody. It's been so long. Welcome back. I love these tastings, don't you? Okay. Let's go over a little housekeeping. What you're going to do at the bottom of your screen, if you have a question, do not put it in the comments. I won't be able to see it because it goes by too fast. I won't be able to catch it. Better to put your questions into the little dialogue bubble with the question mark on it. Put your question there, and then I can address them at the end of the live. Doesn't that sound great? Hello, everybody. While we're waiting, we'll do this for another minute while we're waiting for everyone to join. Start putting in what you're eating with your Bordeaux, if you are at all, and also where you're joining us from. I love it. I'll call out. Where's everyone joining from? Tell me everything. Tell me absolutely everything. While we're waiting on people to finish joining, I was listening to a podcast today that said you remember things better if you come off of some sort of exercise. And I thought we could do a little bit of dancing before the tasting. And I picked out a great song that's going to get us jazzed. It's 6:03. Okay, I think that's good. Everyone jazzed? I'm jazzed. Okay, who has their Lupersom tasting journal with them? I do. If you haven't purchased yours yet, you can go to shoplupersom.com, get yours. You can get it virtually as an ebook. I'm kind of panting. And if you wanted to write in spiral bound, you can get one of those too. Those are $25. Okay. Bordeaux. First thing I'm going to do is show you a map of Bordeaux. Wait for it. Wait for it. Ha! Look at that. This is Bordeaux. This is in the southwestern part of France. And the appellations that we will be tasting today are Bordeaux Superior, which is number 1 and number 2. The third one is Bly, and that one is from the area where the top red arrow is pointing. And then the fourth one that we'll be tasting is from Cadillac, which looks like Cadillac. And that is from the bottom part of the map where that lower red arrow is pointing. So I was thinking about, what do I want you guys to remember about Bordeaux? Like when you're walking into a wine store or when you're at a restaurant or a wine bar, the things that I want you to remember about Bordeaux are these. There are many, and remember this about wine. There are always going to be exceptions. So let me stop this. Stop sharing. There we go. So here are some things to remember about Bordeaux. Almost always, they're going to be blends. The red blends, predominantly Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon, depending on which bank it comes from and which soil type. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. The other thing I want you to remember is that, generally speaking, Bordeaux is a great value. Great value. You got this box of wine for $30. That comes to $8 and change per bottle. That's nothing. Well, I shouldn't say it's nothing, but it's affordable. Bordeaux, the region, makes, can I say a shit ton of wine? It makes a shit ton of wine. I want to say the 2022 vintage, they made 800. I have friends in the background. David and Cam. Say hello, boys.
Hi.
Grab me pizza later. I want to say in the 2022 vintage, Bordeaux had I think they produced 800 million bottles of wine. So these appellations that we'll be tasting make up about 70 to 70% of all of that production, which is a shit ton of wines. I mean, what is that, 500 million bottles? That's a lot of wine. So these wines can be really affordable like this. They can also be very, very expensive, some of the most expensive in the world. Can they be delicious? Fuck yeah, they can. Bordeaux can be awesome. It's a great autumnal and winter wine, even a springtime wine too. It's great with mushrooms and beef and lamb and all sorts of stews. So the dominant grape in this, let's go back to the top. One of the things that I want you to remember is that Bordeaux is almost always going to be a blend. And those blends are dominated by Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot. So Cabernet Sauvignon, I want you to raise your hand or give me a something or other if you've heard of the left bank or the right bank in Bordeaux. And I'm going to wait for it. I see some hearts. Fabulous. Great. Some people have heard of the left and right bank of Bordeaux. Great. So generally speaking, I'll bring that map up again. So the left bank of Bordeaux, which is the green part, that is going to be mostly Cabernet Sauvignon. Not all the time, but almost always, it's going to be predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon. And that is because that side of that river, the main soil type there is gravel, and Cab loves gravelly soils. And then the right bank of Bordeaux, which is the more pink, red, and yellow part on the right side of the river, that's going to be mostly Merlot, and that is because the soil type there is predominantly clay. Now clay, we know, if you've ever played around with clay, you know that it retains a lot of water. When it retains a lot of water, those grapes soak up that water and they get really juicy and plump, and that's why the Merlot wines tend to be juicy and plump, and that's because they've soaked up a lot of water and the grapes get really big and juicy and like a baby's tushy or a baby's thigh, and they get chunky. So Merlot, more right bank. Cabernet Sauvignon, more left bank. So let's turn this off and let's get to tasting. So our first wine today is the 2022 Haute Landon. So all of these wines are from the 2022 vintage, and very quickly, 2022 was a warm vintage, a little drought-like in some areas. So what we expect from warmer years are a bit more power and muscularity. Maybe sometimes, if the winemaker really wasn't paying attention, maybe not as much acidity. I find, as a sommelier and as a wine educator, that in warm vintages, I find that those bottles don't age as gracefully or as long as wines from a classic or a cool vintage. So examples of warm vintages: 2022, 2016, 05 and 03. Those are examples of really warm vintages in Bordeaux. 2017, forget about it. It was a frost vintage. You won't even find anything. Like, don't even drink the 17s. But surrounding that, recent vintages, drink the 21s, drink the 2020s. We still have 2020 to drink from the last Bordeaux 4-pack. We're going to do that in November, December. Oh, yeah. Thumbs up. Yeah, Instagram. So, okay, let's start tasting. On the appearance. So on the appearance, this one, you know what? I'm going to back it up. We're going to look at all of them very quickly. And I have a white table, so I'm going to stand above, and I got to tell you, they all look pretty much the same. So these are all ruby. They're all medium ruby, I'd say. And then, before I smell or taste any one of them, I'm going to go through and smell all of them. So, good. A little quiet. Ooh. Okay, they're all a little quiet. I put all of these into my glass at 540, so 20, they've only been in here for 30 minutes or so. I put wines 1 and 4 in the fridge to experiment to see which one I might like better, whether it's cool or warm. So as I'm taking my tasting notes in the Lupersom Tasting Journal, the producer is Haute Landon, and the vintage is 2022. I paid $30 for the 4-pack, and I tasted it on Lupersom IG. And the appellation is Bordeaux Superior. The color is ruby. It is medium intensity, and it is clear. On the nose, shall we? On the nose. The first thing I get is green bell peppers, freshly cut. Green bell peppers. I think also red plum with the skin on, a touch of black plum. There's also cherry in there. So I might say red and black stone fruits. And my friends David and Cam, David is in the wine business and Cam is not, but Cam happens to have a great nose. So if you are having trouble getting anything, any kind of descriptors on the nose, here's a trick. Put it on your palate, swallow it, and then after you swallow it, inhale through your mouth, and then exhale through your nose. So let's do that together, shall we? Cheers! Okay, swallowed it, inhale through my mouth, and exhale through my nose. Oh, I get a shiny penny. That's minerals. Shiny penny. I get a touch of chocolate, bitter chocolate. Bitter chocolate. I get earth. I get mushrooms, maybe some terracotta. Are there any herbs that you guys are getting? Maybe a touch of bay. You getting bay?
I just said bay.
Did you just say bay?
Yeah.
That's so funny. So I want you to throw up a wave or a flame or something if you like this wine. Just a knee-jerk reaction if you like this wine. Keeping in mind that this wine is only $8 and, whatever. It is, I think this is actually pretty good for 8 and change, right? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah, guys, not bad at all. So the acidity, let's take another taste. We'll take another taste and then we'll taste it for structure. The finish is long, actually.
It is. Tannins are nice and integrated.
So I don't know if you guys heard that or not. David said the tannins are integrated. The tannins are the things that dry out your mouth. They're soft, they're small. So I would put the tannins actually at medium on this. The acidity, I would put it medium high. The body is medium. The sugar, this is dry. The alcohol is medium. The intensity, the palate intensity, I wouldn't fault you if you said medium. I wouldn't fault you if you said pronounced. I'm not going to fault you at all, actually. So I'm going to put an X between my medium and pronounced, because that's where it lies for me. The finish is long, actually. Do I like this wine? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This one I put in the fridge. I like the slight chill to it. I'll say, like the chill. I want to taste this over the next couple of days. I think this one has legs. Retaste over next few days. Would I buy this again? Yeah, I would actually. And I would happily drink a glass of this. And what I like about it too is that it's not overly boozy. Great. Let's jump into wine number 2, guys. Wine number 2 is the Chateau Mater, also Bordeaux Superior, and I did not put this one in the fridge. Okay, so the producer is Chateau Mater. The appellation, again, is Bordeaux Superior. The vintage is 2022. We paid $30 for the 4-pack. And we tasted it on the Lupersom IG. Okay, so the color we said was ruby. It is medium and it is clear because we looked at all of those earlier. It does have a little bit more of a deeper purple, and I might just make a note on that. Deeper purple, if I do these side by side, yeah, there's more purple. More deeper purple. There's no wrong way to fill this out. If you're like, it looks like pomegranate juice, write that down. As long as you just have to use a system that rings true to you so that you can remember what it is that you tasted. And I'm telling you, writing down what you taste makes it stick. Also, dancing before you do it really helps make it stick. Okay, so on the nose on number 2. It's a bit more quiet. I get dried bark, tree bark. I do smell a little bit of the alcohol. The alcohol wafts up. So this one is 70% Merlot, 20 Cabernet Sauvignon, and 10% Malbec. There's a little bit, I can't get around this. There's a little bit of like a black electrical cord in there for me. But listen, everyone's nose is different. Let's do the same thing on this one. Put it on our palate, swish it around, swallow it, then inhale through our mouth and exhale through our nose. Ooh. Ooh. I'd say that the tannins are, the things that dry out your mouth, are mostly the same or similar to wine number 1, but there is a density and concentration here that the first one didn't have. This one has a bit more muscularity. There's a bit more meat or meatiness to it. I do get a touch more vegetal notes on the palate than I did on the nose on number 2. More vegetal. And not in a bad way. I kind of feel like it's like radish top or, you know what's in there? Cassis. Because black currant. Black currant. Because where I was going, I was like, it kind of reminds me of a tomato leaf. And tomato leaf, for me, I get on Syrah. But tomato leaf, for me, is a note that is also in black currant. And it really does taste like black currants. Black currant, there's a touch of blueberry, too, like wild Maine blueberry. Wild Maine blueberry. Okay, let's leave it at that. Let's taste it again, wine number 2. To establish its structural components. And I'll spit. Okay. Ooh, I think that's going to have some longevity too. So, on the palate, the acidity, I would put it medium plus. The body is, I don't want to say it's full, but it's definitely not medium. So I'm going to go medium plus. And I'll tell you this, whenever you're like, could be medium, could be full, I don't know, just give it a plus. Acidity, medium plus. We do it all the time in SOM exams. So that's what I did with the body. I put the X between medium and full. Sugar, this is dry. The tannins, ooh. I'm kind of stuck between medium plus and high, but I'm going to put medium plus and I'm going to say consistent. I'm going to write myself a note. Consistent. The alcohol, somewhere between medium and high. I'm going to leave it there. Intensity, I might call this pronounced. I'm going to call this pronounced. The finish, this is also long. So other notes on this. Throw up your hearts or a wave if you like this wine. I like this wine. I don't like it as much as the first one though. I kind of prefer the first one. There was a bit more levity and red fruitedness to it. The tannins, so I think what drives this wine's finish are the tannins and the notes of black currant. Finish driven by tannins and black currant. And that black electrical cord that I was getting on the nose, gone on the palate. And that's a great example of how a wine can change from its nose to how it behaves or expresses itself on your palate. So both of these were Bordeaux Superior. Bordeaux Superior, that map that I showed you earlier, Bordeaux Superior just covers that entire map, all of it. I want to turn to my guests. What do you guys think of this wine? Do you like it?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? David?
I like it. It's got a bitter, very bitter dark chocolate note to me that is just the percentage past what I enjoy. So
Okay.
There's a bitterness on the finish that I definitely like the first one more too.
Do you like the first one better too, Cam?
Very much.
Me too. Okay, so in the Looper house right now, we're really enjoying this one, the first one. And if you prefer wine number 2, the Mater, good on ya. That's just a palate preference. That's all it is. It's not good or bad. It just is. Let's move on to wines 3 and 4. Wine number 3, we have Blaye Côte de Bordeaux, Baron de Vignonnet. Let's try this. This one I did not put in the fridge. The producer is Baron de Vignonnet. The vintage is 2022. We paid $30 for the 4-pack. We tasted it on the Looper Somm IG. And the appellation is Blaye. Okay, so looking at both of these, you can go above and also 45-degree angle away from you. These are very close in color, but they're not exactly the same. But these are both ruby, I'd call them. They're both clear, and I'd put them at both medium. I would not call them deep because I can, as I tilt them 45 degrees towards me, I can still see through them, and I can still read through them. So that's why I'm sticking to medium. Intensity on the nose. Wine number 3. I'm getting green bell pepper again. Green pepper. I'm also getting tomato leaf. I am again getting black currant. This does not have the varietal breakdown, but my guess is it's got Merlot, a lot of Merlot in it, and probably some Cabernet Franc, maybe some Cabernet Sauvignon. There's a little bit of like a river rock. It's dried though. It's dried river rock, like after a rain. There's also nickel. Okay, let's put this on the palate. There's that bitter chocolate again, which is not a bad thing. The note of chocolate comes from wood. And all of these wines spent at least 6 months in wood. And that, I want to say that probably 12 months at the very least, actually, because of appellation regulations. But that wood, the French do not say it has to be a certain size. It doesn't say it has to be new. It doesn't say that they all have to be neutral. But they did spend at least 12 months in wood. So wood contributes a chocolatey note to the wine. Now these wines, because they are also affordable, they might have gotten their woody notes from oak chips, which is totally okay to use in these larger and somewhat lesser appellations. You would never see oak chips in, say, Pauillac or Margaux. Like, I'm sure you've heard of Chateau Margaux. They would never use oak chips. They'd only use brand new French oak. So let's put this on our palate. Oh, and I keep going back. I'm like, what else am I getting? I'm getting a little bit of red rose. Okay, now I'm really putting it on my palate. And inhale through the mouth. And exhale through the nose. Ooh, it's redder. I like this. Redder fruit. Ooh, plum. There's more tension in this. Do you guys get that almost like where your mouth almost feels like it's not getting mouth sweats, but it's starting to drool a little bit, but it's like there's just a little bit of like shrinkage in there, almost like a shrinky dink. And it's like pulling from the back. It's almost like you're like if you're on a horse, you're like, whoa, whoa. Like I feel like that's happening a little bit on the palate. Do you guys like this wine?
Yes.
David does?
Ish.
Cam-ish. Okay. I think this is actually very nice. The tannins also ample, persistent, small. I think they're smaller. So let's taste this again, and then we'll evaluate its structure. Okay. Body. It's somewhere between medium and medium plus. I'll put medium plus. The acidity is medium plus. The tannins, I'm going to peg these at high. Alcohol, that's medium. Although if you wanted to put medium plus, I'm not going to hate that. The intensity, I'm going to put pronounced. Sugar, this is dry. You know what? I do like this wine. I like this wine. Notes, tension. There's a touch of red licorice, but not Twizzler cheap ass, woo, like lasso red licorice. I'm talking like really fine, like if 11 Madison Park made its own red licorice, it would be this kind of red licorice. Also red currant. I'm getting the black and red currant. I'm getting, there's a mixture of red and black fruits in here for me. It's not as black fruited as the Mater, and it isn't as clearly red fruited as wine number one. I'm really getting a mix of both, and I like it. I like it. This one I think is gonna have some real longevity, some ageability. So when we revisit these next year, we can see how well they've developed. And because we're writing it down in our Luperton Tasting Journal, we can go back to our original notes and compare how it ages over the course of 12 months. I like this wine. Is there anything else in here? There's just like red cherry. The finish goes red fruited. Red cherry. The pluot. It's nice. It is nice. There's a touch of peony as well. I got that red rose right on this one. Yeah, I got red rose. There's a touch of darker red peony. Okay. For the final one, we're gonna taste the Chateau La Taste. I'm telling you, this is just so on the nose. Come on, Costco. But you know. So this one, 70% Merlot, 30% Cabernet Sauvignon. Let's write down what we're tasting. So this is the Chateau La Taste, or Chateau La Taste. We're tasting Lupersan IG. Vintage is 2022. Appellation is Cadillac, which looks like Cadillac. Okay, so wine number 4, the appearance. The appearance is ruby. It is clear. The intensity, I'm gonna put medium. Again, if you want to put medium plus, it's totally fine. Deep is when you really cannot see through it and it's totally opaque. So on the nose, quiet. There's a touch of evergreen, forest floor, touch of moss, like moss covered bark. There's a touch of chocolate too, but it doesn't smell as bitter. Chocolate, I might put 67% chocolate. I'm gonna put raw tomato that's freshly sliced. There's a sappy, stalky, like when you take herbs and you take all of the herb leaf off and then you're left with the stem. And it has that woody slash woodsy herbal stalk. It also smells like fresh potting soil. Okay, wow, we've got a lot of descriptors for the Cadillac. Okay, on the palate. So the Chateau Latas, I also put into the fridge for about 25 minutes. It's still a little cool. It has a slight chill to it, and I really like that. So I'm finding that these wines, I actually really like them with a little bit of a chill. So all you need in the fridge, 25 or 30 minutes, depending on the temperature of your fridge. Knee-jerk reaction, who likes this wine? Yes? Yes, that's delicious. Megan S19, yes, I agree, it is delicious. That is pretty good. Not typically my style. There is a wildness to this. I feel like this is actually going to develop really, really well over the next year. So I'm going to skip on the palate for now and go straight to my notes. So wild black plum. It really tastes the way that it smelled, and you can write that too. Tastes the way that it smelled. Tastes the way it smelled. Okay, now I'm going to retaste it and then spit it out and evaluate its structure on the palate. Those tannins. So this one, I think, is the most tannic. Most tannic. So these tannins, high. Absolutely. Notice, though, how much your mouth is watering. A good trick to figure out how much your mouth is watering, you're going to take another sip of wine number 4. You're going to swallow it, and then you're going to let your mouth hang open and see how much drool collects in your lower jaw. And it doesn't have to be a big sip. See how much you're drooling? I'm going to put that at high acid. Body, I'm going to put medium plus. This is a dry wine. The alcohol, I don't think it's high, but I would put it at medium plus. If you want to put it at medium, that's totally cool too. Intensity, this is pronounced. Finish, long. And that finish is driven by the tannins. So after you taste it, notice what is going on in your mouth. And those really positive attributes are what constitute the finish. And it's long, for me, a short finish, and you'll learn all this in the Lubersam Tasting Journal if you don't have it already. You'll learn that a long finish is something that is how long you taste the wine after you swallow it, and a long finish is about a minute or so or longer. So I'm still tasting this. This finish is long, and the tannins are persistent. Do I like this wine? Yes, I do. And it feels like it kind of wants to explode a little bit. So if you Coravend these wines, because I know some people were going to use the Coravend because they didn't want to open up all four, which is totally cool. Leave these wines in your glass overnight. I think you can do that with all of these wines. And you'll leave about that much, 2 ounces or so. Trust me on this. And whatever your morning ritual is, before you brush your teeth though, go back, smell through these wines, taste them really fast, spit them out into the kitchen sink, and see how they've changed, because they will change. For all we know, they might all turn to vinegar overnight, but I don't think so. I think these are all really well-made wines. What do you guys think?
Very good all around.
Can I tell you, for $8.50 a piece, come on, or $8 and change, this is ridiculous. These are well-made. I think this is a bang-up job for a challenging vintage in Bordeaux that was very warm. And I got to tell you, we talked about the 2022 vintage being warm and how these are going to be really muscular. I think there's muscularity, but they did a good job of maintaining the acidity. And they might have done that by an earlier harvest. And that's one good thing about Bordeaux, because most of them are blends. And I'm talking like 95% of them are going to be blends. The Bordelais hedge their bets because they might get a springtime frost and then they might get autumn rain, and wherever those grapes are ripening, they might get affected. But what's great about Merlot is that it ripens. It's what's called a mid-ripener. So you harvest it, actually, Merlot, before the autumn rains arrive. So almost always your Merlot is going to be ripe for your wine. God, Costco, what's this magic that you do, Costco? Let's go to the questions. I've got 3 of them. Okay. PD Connors. Okay, if you like 1 and 3 much better than 2 and 4, what would you say about your preferences generally? Love this Sunday evening activity, by the way. Thanks. Oh my God, PD Connors, I love it too. So I would say this, if you prefer 1 and 3, I would say you prefer fruit profiles more in the red spectrum. I would also say that you like tannins that are ripe, small, smooth, integrated, but from a flavor profile, I would say that you prefer red fruits over dark black fruits. Let's also look at our notes. So that was green pepper, bay leaf, tomato leaf, black currant, nickel, redder fruit. Yeah, I would say redder fruit. And is there a consistent, the tannins were high on 3. Body, intensity. That's where I would go. I would say that you prefer redder fruits on your wines. And if you like redder fruits on your wines, that is something that you can say to your wine retailer or your sommelier. If they say to you, hey, what kind of wine are you looking for tonight? You could say, I really like medium plus bodied red wines that have a redder fruit profile. What do you have? There you go. And I think that would make sense to any sommelier. Kate and M6, what is the geographical difference of these 3? Okay, so we're going to go through this one more time here. So let's bring up that Bordeaux map. So Bordeaux Superior, which are wines numbers 1 and 2. Bordeaux Superior can come from this entire area, this entire colorful area that you see. They usually come from lower density planted vineyards. They're usually Merlot dominant, and they have to spend at least 1 year in oak. They tend to have a little less concentration. As you noted, 1 and 2, I'd say generally less concentrated and intense than wines 3 and 4. So Bordeaux Superior, if you want something that's not going to be like rawr in your face, go for Bordeaux Superior. They also tend to be a little less expensive, but they also tend to have a little less intensity and concentration. Bly is that top area with that where the top arrow is pointing, and then Cadillac is from that lower area on the right where that arrow is facing. But I will say this, they are all Merlot dominant. That's what we've got. So it's what is there a huge difference? Not a ton, honestly. The major differences come when you go over to the left bank of Bordeaux and start paying really big money. So, Megan S19, can you go over preferences? If you like 2 and 4 better. Yes, Megan S19, yes, I will. So if you like 2 and 4 better, I would say that you prefer wines with a darker, blacker fruit profile. You can even go into boysenberry, forget plum and cherry, go into black fruits. You can go into blueberry. We noted blueberry on one of them as well. Anything that's blue or black or even purple, that is the style of wine that you prefer. I also think that with 2 and 4, from memory, the tannins tended to be a little bit bigger, a bit more robust, rich, full throttle. Feel free to use all of those adjectives as well. Those tended to be 2 and 4. I find a bit more, they had more girth, a bit more muscularity, a bit more density and intensity and concentration. That's what I'd say that you prefer. Struggled with pulling out notes from smell alone. Do you feel like these were all subtle, or do I just have a poor sense of smell? I don't think you have a poor sense of smell at all. This takes practice, and the more you practice, the better you get at it. So thank you so much for showing up today, because when you show up is when you start to see results. So keep these wines out overnight and smell them in the morning, taste them in the morning. You don't have to swallow it. Spit them out in your kitchen sink. It's when you practice that consistency is when you start to see results. So I don't think you have a poor sense of smell. That trick that I showed you about swishing it around in your mouth, you can swallow it or spit it out, and then breathe in through your mouth, and then exhale through your nose. What you're doing is warming up the wine with your warm body, making the molecules move faster. You're making them pass by your olfactory epithelium, which is an organ that sits right back here, that connects to your everything. Amygdala, hippocampus, and olfactory bulb. And when you do that, you get more notes out. You smell better with your mouth when you do that. So keep practicing that. Other questions? Last year you advised which to drink now and which bottles to hold. What would you say about this? I think that we hold on to all of these wines. I think we taste your second pack, our second pack, in a year. So I will see you in a year when we retaste these wines. I have more. I have 2 more. Thinking about retasting in a few days. Is that a good idea? Fuck yeah! Lori A. Lee 61. Yes, I'm going to be retasting these through every day until they're gone to see when they start to die off. Because any wine is going to want to start to turn to vinegar. Rattlesnake Bones, watching from Norwalk, Connecticut, and drinking club soda. You know what? Yeah, you are. Thank you so much for joining. I don't care if you've got wine in front of you, a gummy, or a lasagna. It doesn't matter. Chicken marsala. It doesn't matter. Just come, enjoy, be a part of this community. If there are no further questions, I will be respectful of your time. This actually went a little bit longer than I expected it to, but 44 minutes. Let's do this again. I will send out a note about when we will retaste last year's Bordeaux 4-pack. I'm thinking end of November, maybe the beginning of December. And I have lots of new stuff coming, so be on the lookout for new announcements. And I will see you on the IG. And as always, you can always talk to me about wine. So DM me your favorite wines that you're drinking, even the junky ones. And I'll see you guys soon. Take good care. Bye.